that there is a groundswell of opinion that the cycle of military intervention be terminated.
Have you ever wondered why many Nigerians see General Sani Abacha as a good leader? Well, General Sani Abacha is a leader with two contrasting sides. To many, he is a brutal dictator whose regime perpetrated gross human rights violations. To others, Abacha is a good leader who worked day and night for the betterment of Nigeria. In our previous video, we explained why General Sani Abacha is a tyrant. In this video, however, we explain the reasons why Abacha is considered by many not only as a good leader, but the best Nigerian military head of state ever. Welcome to this edition of History Media. Gabriel here. Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you. In November 1993, when General Sani Abacha came into power, Nigeria was confronted with the challenges of democracy, federalism, corruption, governance, and aggressive ethno-regionalism. To tackle these nation-building challenges, the Abacha regime, like other military regimes before him, adopted decrees and edicts, as well as constitutional and institutional reforms. But the issue of democracy and constitutional reform were urgent following the impasse created by the June 12 annulment. Arising from this crisis and the various calls for an end to military rule, the Abacha administration convened a National Constitutional Conference (NCC) on June 26, 1994. The conference was meant to articulate an institutional arrangement capable of laying a solid foundation for a viable, cohesive, and functional Nigeria. General Sani Abacha charged the conference delegate to fashion a conscious culture of national consensus conceived in the broadest sense. The administration also established a National Constitutional Commission to facilitate the affairs of the conference. In addition, the work of the conference was to serve as an important plank for the transition to civil rule program of the administration. At the end of the conference, some important recommendations were made. 1. That the presidency should be rotated between the North and the South. 2. That representation at the federal and sub-federal levels must be based on proportionality. 3rd, that the Federal Character Commission was to be established. And finally, they also approved multi-party democracy for the Fourth Republic. It is remarkable to note that some of these recommendations were later adopted in the Fourth Republic after Abacha's death in 1998. At that time, one of the challenges that required urgent attention was the issue of ethno-regionalism and its overbearing influence on the structure of Nigeria. Minority ethnic nationalities who have over the years been lorded over by the majority in their state clamored for a unique identity for themselves. The need to address these minority concerns from different corners of the country became very urgent. To address these concerns, one of the recommendations of the NCC was the creation of new states. Consequently, on October 1, 1996, the government created 6 additional states, including Ebonyi from Abia State and Enugu states. Bayelsa State was created from Rivers State, Nasarawa State was created from Plateau State, Gombe State was created from Bauchi, and Ekiti from Ondo State. In addition, 138 local government areas were also created. This now brought the total number of states in Nigeria to 36 states plus the FCT, while the number of local government areas across the country stands at 774. Apart from minority concerns, the creation of states and local government areas was to ensure that governance, both at the national and subnational levels, was extended to the grassroots. Abacha also oversaw the reorganization of Nigeria into the current 6 geopolitical zones in order to reflect cultural, economic, and political realities of the regions. But that is not all. To tackle the challenge of democracy, Abacha promulgated a series of transition to civil rule decrees between 1994 and 1995 that would have ensured the enthronement of democracy in Nigeria. The decrees included the Constitutional Conference Election Committee Decree 1994, the Constitutional Conference Decree 1995, and the Constitutional Conference Dissolution Decree of 1995. In October 1995, the state launched its Transition to Civil Rule program with the Transition to Civil Rule Decree 1995. According to the transition program, the regime planned to return to democracy by 1998, and the transition program was divided into 9 phases, some of which included the establishment of a new electoral commission for Nigeria, the creation of new states and local government areas, the registration of political parties, the production of authentic voter register, and the setting up of state electoral tribunals. On December 12, 1995, an 8-member National Electoral Commission of Nigeria known as NECON was inaugurated. The next day, Abacha set up a Transition Implementation Committee (TIC) to supervise the transition process. Almost a year later, on September 30, 1996, NECON announced the registration of 5 political parties under stiff guidelines. Between April 16 and 28, 1998, all but one of the 5 registered political parties adopted Abacha as consensus candidate for the presidential elections. This, however, led Chief Bola Ige to describe the parties as 5 fingers of a leprous hand. In 1996, the Abacha regime established by Decree No. 34 of 1996 the Federal Character Commission. The commission had powers to work out a formula for the redistribution of jobs and to establish the principle of proportionality, among other things. The commission also had the powers to prosecute head of ministries and parastatals for failing to carry out its instructions. It was further empowered to address the inequalities in social services and infrastructural development. For example, based on the idea behind the establishment of the commission, Abacha's Provisional Ruling Council, the PRC, was reorganized to include members from across the 6 geopolitical divides. The Federal Character Commission is still prominent in Nigeria today, though nepotism and impunity by government officials has become institutionalized in the last decade or so, making the commission largely ineffective. In October 1994, the government removed subsidy on petroleum and increased fuel prices, but the regime promised to put the extra revenue into a special account that will be used to rehabilitate public facilities across the country. Consequently, using Decree No. 25 of 1994, the Petroleum Special Trust Fund (PTF) was established. The mandate of the PTF ranged from supplying medications to public hospitals, building or repairing roads, schools, renovation of university halls across the country, and providing boreholes to communities. However, in spite of its laudable aims, the PTF failed to fulfill its important mission before it was scrapped by the Obasanjo administration in 2000. The Abacha regime also established the National Human Rights Commission of Nigeria using Decree No. 22 of 1995. But the commission started operation in June 1996 and served as an extrajudicial mechanism for the respect and enjoyment of human rights. However, during the Abacha's regime, prominent civil rights activists were jailed and civil rights organizations were proscribed. It is important to remind us that apart from constitutional and institutional reforms, the Abacha regime was able to undertake some laudable or notable projects during its almost 5 years rule. On February 18, 1996, the government awarded a contract for the construction of the National Assembly Complex in Abuja. In the same vein, Gwarimpa Housing Estate was designed and built by the regime of General Sani Abacha, while the Federal Medical Center (PIDA) and some others were built during Abacha government in 1997. The regime is credited with the construction of the National Hospital Abuja, Women and Children Hospital Sokoto, Aminu Kano Hospital Kano, Apo Legislative Quarters, and many other projects. Abacha is also credited with the construction of between 25 and 100 kilometers of urban road in major cities such as Kano, Gusau, Benin, Funtua, Zaria, Enugu, Kaduna, Aba, Lagos, Lokoja, and Port Harcourt. In another development, Abacha's administration oversaw an increase in the country's foreign exchange reserve from $494 million in 1993 to $9.6 billion by the middle of 1997. and reduced the external debt of Nigeria from $36 billion in 1993 to about $27 billion by 1997. Abacha has refused IMF advice to take foreign loans. Between 1993 and 1998, the regime reduced the inflation rate from 54% inherited from the interim national government to about 8.5% at the time oil prices were hovering around $15. Within this period, however, Nigeria's domestic debt rose sharply from 221.8 billion naira in 1996 to 359.03 billion naira in 1997. And finally, long before he became president, Sani Abacha was one of a few senior military officers who rose to the occasion to defend the Babangida regime during the Gideon Orkar coup in 1990. Babangida's initial suspicion was that Abacha was behind the coup. At first, when General Sani Abacha telephoned him, he refused to disclose his hiding place. When it became clear that Abacha was only fighting to sustain his regime, Babangida never joked with him afterwards. From that moment, Babangida referred to Abacha as a Khalifa, meaning the successor. That was the reason why he left Abacha behind as defense minister when he set up the interim national government. He had the option to retire him, knowing fully well his ability to plan and execute military coups. So, what is your thought on this? Do you know any good side of General Sani Abacha that is not included in this video? Let us know in the comment section. If you missed our previous video on the other side of Abacha, please click here. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the other one. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.